Traffic was still banking up at Raymond Terrace this morning after a constant flow during the night. Tired motorists took advantage of the driver reviver stops, a welcome break on the trip up the coast. In Newcastle, the Highway Patrol clamped down on speeding offences and driving without a seatbelt. A 24-hour blitz saw 170 speeding offences, but just 8 seatbelt offences. Last weekend, 172 drivers were fined for not wearing a belt. In an unusual twist, police have found motorists to be complimentary of their fellow drivers, despite the numbers of cars on the roads.
They've all said that they can see a marked improvement in the driving of people and especially in their manner towards other drivers. They are becoming very considerate.
Police have warned drivers to maintain that care with the returning rush on Monday afternoon. Peter Ryan, NBN News.
It was a steady opening by Newcastle and an early LBW appeal by Bone was turned down. Edwards decided to go on the attack and a brilliant hook shot landed centimetres inside the boundary. At the other end, Stephen Mace got into the act and clipped one through mid-on and he was able to run 3 as the scoreboard continually ticked over. Edwards hit the shot of the morning, off his toes, and it rattled the pickets in front of the grandstand at Carl Oval. But very next ball, new bowler Darryl McDonald made the breakthrough. Greg Arms joined Mace and looked a little patchy early. McDonald's next over produced another wicket as Mace fell to a brilliant catch. Play continues tomorrow and Monday.
Well, no one really expected him to fly. Spectators would probably be disappointed if any of the entrants managed to keep their feet dry. The Birdman Challenge is always a big occasion and the harbour foreshores were once again lined with lovers of high-flying adventure. While gravity proved it couldn't be dealt with lightly, creativity was given a new meaning. Entrants ranged from the completely incredible to those who almost thought they were taking it seriously. The 10-metre jump to glory took just seconds, but contestants still had enough time to demonstrate individual flair, and those lacking imagination on the way down could still make up for it with the landing. And if anyone was disappointed by the Birdmen's hopeless attempts, there was the consolation of seeing some real flying, courtesy of the RAF Museum. The Sabre jet is a flying relic of the 50s, but its pilot still managed to wring a performance out of the former pride of the Air Force that was every bit as enthralling as its more modern replacement. And the high-speed thrills continued on the water with first appearances by the SeaWorld water ski team, who battled atrociously choppy conditions to demonstrate their considerable talents. Spectators who did turn out were rewarded with a late burst of sunshine. Coordinator Alan Ward says the fun will continue.
And what are the other events we look forward to in Matara?
The Grand Parade at the last day and the Derby Street Festival, the musical and military tattoo at the International Sports Centre on the second last night. There's so many things happening all over town.
Late this afternoon, pyrotechnicians are putting the finishing touches to a fireworks pontoon. They'll light the blue touch paper at 7 o'clock tonight. The Ngluka tragedy remains fresh in the minds of Nelson Bay's boating fraternity. It was a sombre warning of the potential dangers of this boating paradise. Nelson Bay Coastal Patrol has conducted high-profile water safety programs for the past couple of years, and they took advantage of this long weekend to once again reinforce the safety message. The simulated boating drama involved a fire at sea and a subsequent crewman overboard. With the cooperation of the Lloyd's search and rescue helicopter contracted to RAF Base Williamtown, the Coastal Patrol was able to vividly reenact a rescue. With the injured crewman safely back on shore, ambulance officers were able to treat his simulated injuries. This time it was an exercise, but Coastal Patrol officers say the rising tide of pleasure boaters means the possibility of the next rescue being real grows daily.
Every year, it's indicated by the radio traffic that we receive at our radio base, 40,000 calls a year, and it's certainly on the increase. And last year, Coastal Patrol Port Stephens was involved in 143 calls for assistance, some of those life-threatening.
In tonight's NBN News, a lucky escape for a Floraville man dragged from a burning house. Overcome by smoke and unable to make it outside, the 20-year-old man was saved by a neighbour.
For all the news, join us tonight at 6.
Daylight showed just how lucky Peter Prigg was. He awoke to find the two-storey dwelling well alight. His first thought was for the family's pedigree dogs, but a search for them nearly cost him his life. Unable to find the animals and overcome by smoke, Peter collapsed at the back door. Luckily, neighbour Donna Goldstone noticed the flames.
I saw flames coming from the laundry. It was confined to the laundry at that stage, and I ran immediately next door because my husband was at work to arouse some attention, get Richard from next door to come over and help me. And Richard was about to he tried to enter the house, trying to smash a window, and walked up the veranda, or ran up the veranda I should say, and found Peter laying unconscious half out of the house and dragged him out. At this stage the house just was like an inferno. You could feel the heat from across the road. The flames just seemed to be engulfing the whole building.
Peter, who was alone in the house, suffered only smoke inhalation from his ordeal. 3 brigades fought the fire. Although the brick structure survived, the interior was gutted. Damage is still being assessed. The only possession not destroyed in the fire was the family's BMW car.
The Malibu made a nostalgic return to the cliff in a contest that is growing in popularity each year. Wave masters of a bygone era have breathed new life into the longboard, and even the professional shortboard riders find great pleasure in competing on the plank. For the Still City Malibu Club, a trifecta in the open event with Steve Butterworth stamping his superiority on the division and taking the honours. Luke Egan, one of the top shortboard pro surfers on the tour, was second to Butterworth, and another youngster, Mark Hancock, was third. In the Masters division, a possible protest could come from the other competitors in the division as they are questioning whether the winner, Peter Cornish, is really 40. World champ Stuart Entwistle was second and Frank Ladder from Longreef third. In the Old Mal, Scott Mason was victorious from Simon Smith and Jamie Brownlee, while in the 9-foot traditional Mal, to many the premier longboard event, 2HD's Roger Clement surfed his way to another title, followed closely by Steve Butterworth and Simon Smith.
Spring all but sprang into summer around the Hunter today as the mercury climbed into the 20s and thousands took to the great outdoors. Pleasant conditions on the water saw the surfers having a slashing time, while on shore many braved the beach for the first time this season to get an early start on that summer tan. At Newcastle University, the Matara professional billy cart derby showed all concerned just how far things have come since Ginger Meggs was a boy.
Steering out of a V-dub steering box. It's got twin caliper, just standard pushback brakes, and both wheels, independent braking. we've been timed at about a 700 metre track. This was the first one to break the 40-second record this year, so I'm not sure what that averages out at, but it's over 80 kilometres an hour.
All good things must come to an end though, and as the Labor Day holiday drew to a close, some slightly larger four-wheelers found themselves in heavy traffic. The notorious bottleneck near Raymond Terrace was the scene of the traditional long weekend crawl and a highly visible police presence. A late downpour made conditions treacherous, but at least it cooled some hot tempers.
The thought of taking care of her sons for the rest of her life has sent Heather Dent on a marathon walk from Lismore to Parliament House in Sydney. Heather is just one of thousands of parents unable to find homes for their intellectually disabled children. Although she still has a long way to go before she raises $20,000 to buy land in Casino to build a house for her son, Heather isn't deterred.
I've got 6,000, but I left Lismore with that too. Well, I left Lismore with nearly 6 and I now have 6. But that's all right, we'll get there.
With 15 days behind her and 5 to go, Heather knows her walk is worth the agony.
I have spent 25 years of my life caring for my disabled sons, and now when I wish not to do it anymore, not because I don't love my child, but just because I would like to live a reasonably ordinary life, I find that there is nothing for me, there is no assistance.
With the closure of Endeavour House last December, a maximum security centre was needed to house the state's worst juvenile offenders. A centre which, although secure, offered a positive environment conducive to rehabilitation.
The emphasis is going to be very much on rehabilitation, on educational training, on vocational training and on recreation, so that our aim is to eventually rehabilitate those people who are here in Kariong Centre.
Gone are the imposing brick walls of Endeavour House. Instead, 3 separate security fences will give the teenagers one of the best views on the Central Coast.
It's not a holiday camp, but nor is it Alcatraz. And it offers, I think, the right mix of security, of discipline, but at the same time giving young people the opportunity to be rehabilitated.
A gymnasium, swimming pool and half-size football field will be established, as well as a workshop offering classes in woodwork, metalwork, fiberglassing and home science. With 8 double rooms and 32 single lodgings, the $14.3 million facility will hold 48 juveniles at a time. Although on the same land as Mount Penang Detention Centre, the secure unit will be separate, with its own administration and rehabilitation programs. Jodie McKay for NBN News.
The turbo swing certainly has people swinging 360 degrees. Inventor Axel Tenney developed the idea from a childhood dream to take the backyard swing the full circle.
It's a personal challenge for the individual to force himself to get around, conquer the fear. It certainly has a rush of adrenaline, and it is quite a great deal of exercise.
Axel and Inventor from Tamworth took the concept to the hunter team of the Enterprise Workshops, a government and private group which advises entrepreneurs on the right way to promote their products. The Turbo Swing finished in the final 6 of a statewide Enterprise Workshop competition, a result which has turned heads.
He's searched the market out and people want a participating sport, and this one is so safe the way he's designed it. I think it's a great concept and it's a winner.
It's a simple idea, a basic hollow steel swing frame and stabiliser bar held in the soil by metre-long spikes. The swing spins on a sleeve bearing. Swingers are strapped in at the feet with miniature seatbelts. The hands slip into loops. It's even possible to take 2 passengers on a ride over the top. Well, being a big kid at heart, I really should give it a test run. Okay, let's do it. Axel hopes to lease the idea to community groups and sideshow operators. Domestic versions are planned for the future. Peter Ryan, NBN News.
These are the finalists in an Australia-wide search for our best apprentice chefs. They're based at the Hamilton TAFE College this week under the watchful eye of top chef Barry Wright. For the next 3 days, they'll dice, whisk and bake their way to Luxembourg to compete in the Expo Gust in November. As well as training, this week is an elimination round. 4 will stay at home, but all will have gained experience in salon culinaire presentation. For all the preparation, and some dishes can take days, this food is not destined to be eaten.
We try it as we go along to make sure it tastes good and the flavours and everything else coordinate well. But in Luxembourg, because of the amount of food that's being judged, no, it's not eaten. It's tasted only on rare occasions because the presentation is the main part.
Each apprentice is preparing a different course from hors d'oeuvres, a platter to a rich gâteau. The end result will go on display this Friday at the college. Barry Wright has high hopes for his team this year.
Well, we've got 2 local people here and I feel that at least one of them will be on the team in Luxembourg, and if they will bring back medals, yes.
Both studs are recognised as leaders in the breeding game, consistently standing Australasia's best stallions and topping yearling sales with their produce. In March last year, Arrowfield proved its importance by having the Prime Minister open $14 million improvements to its facilities. But like the rest of the nation's business world, the racing game has fallen on hard times, and those at the top end of the market have felt the pinch. For Arrowfield, it came in the form of an $11.8 million loss to June 30. In the same vein, Sedgenhoe posted a $6.5 million loss. But despite painting a grim picture on paper, management at neither stud appears particularly perturbed by the result. Tony Bott of Sedgenhoe attributed the bottom line to the writing down of its bloodstock, its stallions by $650,000 and its mares by $4.3 million. Mr Bott said the stud had lost star stallion Karoo Star and moved a couple of others to stand elsewhere. As well, it's gone on a rather aggressive stallion buying campaign. But despite that nonchalance, the stud has still recognised the tougher economic picture by reducing its stud fees by up to 40%. A similar story at Arrowfield, where fee reductions have been made as well, though those are only minimal, and the stud still reports a full book for its 8 resident stallions.
The Hawaiian Steakhouse restaurant on Derby Street is undergoing extensive repairs to earthquake damage. Much of the building was wide open to intruders. Restaurant owner Nick Favos was sleeping on the premises as a security precaution last night when his worst fears were realised.
I heard the till open, which woke me up. I stood up and turned around. I saw he was standing there with a flashlight, and he yelled and said, "Don't come any closer, I've got a knife, I've got a knife." And then he ran out.
The weapon was a 20-centimetre knife taken from the restaurant's kitchen. Although the thief discarded the weapon, he didn't let go of several $1,000s taken from the till and a security briefcase. This morning, police found evidence that the intruder had also collected a supply of groceries from a storeroom at the rear of the building. In the meantime, Nick Favos says he's going to sleep on the premises again tonight. The restaurant reopens tomorrow.
Aussie Super Sedan champion John Pine will be after a repeat of last week's outstanding season pipe opener when he won 4 races from 4 starts in his new Commodore. Pine's biggest challenges will come from brother Ron and Highfield's Peter Garrett, who ran second in last year's National Championship to John Pine. Gary Pollock, the Australian Compact Speed Car champ, will clash with former title holder Rod Bowen, who was most impressive at the official practice a fortnight ago. The Compacts always provide spectators with plenty of thrills and spills. Formula 500s are on the program, with Singleton's Roy Earpeth out to reclaim the 4-lap record from fellow clubmate Graham Baxter. Excitement plus as the solos return to the Motordrome with a good lineup of riders nominated. Mick Holder and Jamie Plummer, 2 riders who aim to make solo speedway racing their profession, but they will have to mix it with hard-charging Jack Stevens and Sydney's Ian Wedgwood. Big fields are also entered in the modified hot rods and stock car divisions for the NBN sponsored program.
It's not only heavy industry that has problems with liquid waste. Small businesses like petrol stations and repair workshops can generate up to 1,000 litres of oily water per month. Recent studies by the Hunter Water Board indicate that some of that waste is finding its way into sewerage systems illegally, ending up on beaches and in the ocean. Levels of heavy metals and pesticides in fish off the Newcastle coast have increased and in some cases exceed recommended National Health and Medical Research Council limits. The SPCC says a local solution to the Hunter's liquid waste problem, now estimated at 40 million litres per year, is fast becoming a matter of urgency.